So when are you going to get a real job? I was 3 years into building something I actually cared about, making enough to live, happier than I'd ever been. And my family thought I was wasting my life because I wasn't following the script, the one everyone follows, the one that promises security, respect, success, if you just do what you're told. Get the degree, climb the ladder, buy the house, chase the promotion, retire at 65, rinse and repeat. For most people, that's just life. It's what you do, it's the deal. But for INFJs, that script feels like a cage, and we'd rather struggle on our own terms than succeed on someone else's. Today, we're talking about why INFJs refuse to live like everyone else, why we can't just follow the conventional path, even when it would be easier, and why, despite the judgment and the confusion and the pressure to conform, we keep choosing the harder road. Because for us, it's not actually harder. It's the only way that makes sense. Let's break it down. The first reason INFJs refuse to live like everyone else, we see through the illusion. Most people are sold a dream that goes something like this: work hard, make money, buy things, be happy. And the majority of society buys into it without questioning. They chase promotions they don't really want. They buy houses they can barely afford. They impress people they don't even like. And they call it success. INFJs? We see the trap. We see people spending 40 years in jobs they hate for the promise of retirement they might not live to enjoy. We see people buying happiness on credit. We see the soul-crushing reality of living for weekends and 2-week vacations. And we can't unsee it. It's not that we're smarter or better. It's that our brains are wired to see patterns, to question systems, to ask, why are we doing it this way? And when the answer is because everyone else does, that's not good enough for us. We need meaning, purpose, alignment between our values and our daily life. And the conventional path doesn't offer that. So we opt out. Not because we're rebellious, but because we can't pretend the emperor is wearing clothes when we can clearly see he's naked. Second reason, we value freedom over security. This is the big one that confuses people. INFJs will turn down high-paying jobs, prestigious positions, stable careers, things most people would kill for, because they come with strings attached. Strings like your time is no longer yours, your creativity gets boxed in, your energy goes to building someone else's dream, your autonomy disappears. And for an INFJ, that trade isn't worth it. We'd rather have less money and more freedom, less prestige and more authenticity, less security and more alignment. People think we're being impractical, idealistic, naive. But here's what they don't understand. Security is an illusion anyway. You can do everything right, get the stable job, save for retirement, play by the rules, and still lose it all in a recession, a layoff, a health crisis. Real security doesn't come from a paycheck or a title. It comes from knowing you can adapt, create, survive on your own terms. And INFJs would rather build that internal security than depend on external systems that could collapse at any moment. We're not afraid of instability. We're afraid of being trapped. Third reason, we can't separate work from meaning. Most people can clock in, do the work, clock out, and not think about whether their job matters. INFJs can't do that. We need to believe that what we're doing contributes something, that it aligns with our values, that it's moving the world, even in some small way, towards something better. If we're spending 40+ hours a week on something, it has to mean something. We can't sell products we don't believe in. We can't work for companies whose values contradict ours. We can't spend our lives executing tasks that feel meaningless just because they pay well. It's not sustainable for us. We burn out. We get depressed. We feel like we're betraying ourselves every single day. So we leave. We quit the good job to do something that feels right, even if it pays less, even if it's riskier, even if people don't understand. Because for us, meaning isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And a life without it isn't really a life at all. Fourth reason, we refuse to perform. Society runs on performance, perform success, perform happiness, perform normalcy. Post the right pictures, say the right things, show up in the right way. Curate your life like it's a brand. Make sure everyone knows you're doing well. INFJs are exhausted just reading that. We don't want to perform. We don't want to curate. We don't want to manage other people's perceptions of us. We want to be real. And living like everyone else requires a level of performance we're not willing to maintain. The corporate persona, the social media highlight reel, the everything's fine mask. We'd rather disappear than pretend. So we build lives that don't require performance. Lives where we can be authentically ourselves, even if that means fewer people understand us. We'd rather have 3 real friends than 300 followers. We'd rather live quietly and genuinely than loudly and performatively. We'd rather be unknown and authentic than famous and fake. That's not a rejection of success. It's a rejection of the performance success requires. 5th reason, we're playing a different game. Everyone else is playing the comparison game, the status game, the accumulation game. Who has the better job? The bigger house, the nicer car, the more impressive life? INFJs aren't interested in any of that. We're playing the alignment game, the growth game, the meaning game. Our questions are different. Am I becoming who I want to be? Am I living according to my values? Am I contributing something that matters? Am I surrounding myself with people who see me? Am I using my time in a way that feels right? You can't win those games by following the conventional path. You can't become your authentic self by conforming. You can't live your values by adopting someone else's. You can't find meaning by chasing what society tells you to chase. So we stop playing their game. We stop comparing. We stop competing. We stop trying to win at a game we never wanted to play. And we start building something else entirely. 6th reason, we trust our intuition over convention. INFJs have incredibly strong intuition, and it's rarely wrong. When something doesn't feel right, even if it looks right on paper, we can't ignore that feeling. Our intuition says, this job is wrong for you, and everyone else says, but it's such a great opportunity. Our intuition says, this relationship isn't right, and everyone else says, but they're perfect for you on paper. Our intuition says, you need to leave this city, and everyone else says, but you have everything here. And we've learned, usually through painful experience, that our intuition knows something our logical mind doesn't. So we listen to it, even when it doesn't make sense, even when we can't explain it, even when everyone thinks we're making a mistake. We trust that inner knowing over conventional wisdom, and that trust makes us seem weird, impulsive, irresponsible to people who only make decisions based on external logic. But for us, ignoring our intuition is what's actually irresponsible, because every time we've gone against it, we've regretted it. 7th reason, we'd rather be alone than fake. This is huge. Most people will compromise themselves to fit in, to be liked, to avoid being alone. They'll laugh at jokes that aren't funny. They'll pretend to care about things they don't. They'll hide parts of themselves that might be too much. INFJs won't. Not because we're stubborn or antisocial, but because the cost of faking it is too high. We'd rather have no friends than fake friends. We'd rather be single than in a relationship that requires us to be someone we're not. We'd rather work alone than in a team that doesn't respect our values. Solitude doesn't scare us the way it scares other people. What scares us is losing ourselves in the process of trying to belong. So we don't compromise, we don't perform, we don't pretend. And if that means we're alone sometimes, we're okay with that. Because we know the right people, the real connections, will accept us as we are. And everyone else was never really for us anyway. We see the future cost of present comfort. INFJs are future-oriented thinkers. We don't just see what is, we see what will be if current patterns continue. So when we look at the conventional path, we don't just see the immediate benefits, the steady paycheck, the social approval, the comfortable routine. We see the long-term cost. We see ourselves at 45, burned out and resentful, wondering where our life went. We see ourselves at 60, retired but hollow, because we spent decades building someone else's vision. We see ourselves on our deathbed, regretting the dreams we didn't chase, the risks we didn't take, the person we never became. And that future terrifies us more than any present struggle, so we make different choices. Choices that might be harder now, but that we won't regret later. Choices that prioritize long-term alignment over short-term comfort. Choices that might confuse people in the moment, but that our future selves will thank us for. We're not being reckless. We're being strategic. We're just playing a longer game than most people can see. 9th reason, We refuse to accept that's just how it is. INFJs are idealists, and people love to crush that out of us. That's just how the world works. You can't change the system. You need to be realistic. Welcome to adulthood. And you know what? We reject all of it. Not because we're naive, not because we don't understand how things currently work, but because we refuse to accept that the current way is the only way. We look at systems and see possibilities for change. We look at problems and see opportunities for solutions. We look at the way things have always been and ask, but why? We're not interested in accepting a broken system just because it's familiar. We'd rather try to build something better, or at least live outside the system entirely, than participate in something we don't believe in. People call this idealistic like it's an insult, but idealism is just hope with a work ethic. And we'd rather be idealistic and trying than realistic and resigned. 10th reason, we know there's more. This is the deepest reason, the one that's hardest to explain. INFJs just know there's more to life than what the conventional path offers. More depth, more meaning, more connection, more truth. We can feel it, even if we can't always articulate it. And once you felt that more, you can't settle for less. You can't go back to surface-level conversations. You can't go back to meaningless work. You can't go back to relationships that don't touch your soul. You can't pretend that accumulating money and status is the point, because you know it's not. The point is growth, connection, creating something meaningful, becoming who you're meant to be, touching other people's lives in a real way. And the conventional path doesn't optimize for any of that. So we build our own path, not because we're special, not because we're better, but because we've seen what's possible and we can't unsee it. Here's the truth about INFJs refusing to live like everyone else. It's not a rejection of other people. It's not arrogance. It's not us thinking we're too good for normal life. It's just that we can't betray ourselves to fit a mold that was never designed for who we are. We can't spend our one life doing things that feel wrong just because they're expected. We can't sacrifice meaning for security, authenticity for approval, depth for comfort. The conventional path works for a lot of people, and that's great, genuinely. But it doesn't work for us, and we've stopped apologizing for that. We've stopped trying to explain ourselves to people who will never understand. We've stopped waiting for permission to live differently. We're just living on our terms, according to our values, in alignment with who we actually are. And yeah, it's harder sometimes, it's lonelier sometimes, it's more uncertain, but it's ours, and that makes all the difference. So if you're an INFJ who's been told you're being impractical, unrealistic, too idealistic, too picky, too different, you're not wrong, you're just awake and refusing to go back to sleep. Keep going, keep building, keep trusting that inner knowing that tells you there's a better way, because there is, and you're creating it. Thanks for watching.